The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
With the bureaucrats out of power, we can finally take the necessary steps.
Los Angeles is now the latest city to be placed under martial law. All residents are required to report to their designated quarantine. Riots have continued for a third consecutive day, and winter rations are at an all-time low.
A group calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for both attacks.
Their public charter calls for the return of all branches of government.
Demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged Fireflies.
You can still rise with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Believe in the Fireflies.
On June 14th, 2013, Naughty Dog would take a journey to uncharted territories when they released The Last of Us. The studio behind Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted decided they wanted to create something different from their traditional action-adventure games. Naughty Dog wanted to create a masterpiece. Highly regarded as a perfect or near-perfect game, The Last of Us would go on to sell 7 million copies, becoming the third best-selling game on the PlayStation 3, beating out all 3 of the Uncharted games released at that time. This was huge considering the game came out just months before the PlayStation 4 would launch. Speaking of, we'd get a remastered version of the game just a year later in 2014, and then Sony wanted Naughty Dog to go the Bethesda route and re-release The Last of Us again for the PS5 in 2022. Which, by the way, is a wonderful game. Don't let the haters get to you. That game fucks. And finally, we would end up getting the TV show in early 2023, with Season 2 in production right now in 2024, soon to come out in 2025. From the outside looking in, The Last of Us is just another zombie game.
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Yeah!
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Sure.
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Oh, okay.
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Jesus Christ, how many fucking zombie games you buying, Joe?
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
No, I don't want to fucking play another goddamn zombie game!
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Stop it.
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Stop!
Hey Joe, you wanna play a zombie game?
Kill me.
Joe, you wanna play a motherfucking zombie game?
It's the studio's first time diving a little bit further than that action-adventure genre that they're so comfortable with, and added a little bit of survival horror. For anyone that's played a survival horror game, it's got all the typical stuff you'd expect, a crafting system and resources you find throughout the game to then use for the crafting system, of course. What makes The Last of Us truly stand out from all other survival horror games, and of course the widely popular zombie apocalypse genre, was the story. The creators and writers Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley gave players an impactful narrative experience. This is the first game I cried while playing. Of course, that comes with the performances of the actors of these characters, but it all begins with the writing and direction of the game. You play as Joel Miller, and within the first 30 minutes of the game, your daughter is shot and killed by the military, who are evacuating the city and have to play their cards right. We pick up the story 20 years later, where we are tasked with a cargo mission. The cargo, you may ask? A little girl named Ellie. We aren't given a specific reason though. What seems like a simple A to B delivery would turn into having to travel from Boston to Salt Lake City, which is obviously halfway across the country. And of course, Joel doesn't want to do this. Hell, his daughter died in his arms 20 years ago. He wants absolutely nothing to do with Ellie. And along the way, we'd run into terrible, terrible groups, but also some amazingly written side characters, Bill, Sam, and Henry. But I'd rather you get to experience that all yourself though. I'm not trying to spoil the entirety of this game, just want to bring it to light even more with details I want to talk about. Eventually, throughout this journey, you will see the bond between Joel and Ellie grow. Obviously, when they first meet each other, they'd rather just fuck off. But you start to notice things as a player. You pick up a few things when you're walking around a hotel, listening to Ellie's terrible puns, and you start to realize maybe there's something here between these two. Maybe they can grow. The journey comes to an end as Joel brings Ellie to the Fireflies in Salt Lake City, only to find out that in order for them to make the cure using Ellie, it'd kill her in the process. Joel doesn't like that, and he decides it's time to turn into John Wick at the hospital, and obviously ending up saving Ellie. When Ellie comes to, Joel lies, and that's the main focus of today's video. This game, the most important part of the story, is a lie that Joel tells Ellie. The brilliant bastards, the brilliant minds of Neil and Bruce want the player to let this scene play out. Joel decides to tell Ellie that there are dozens out there just like her, and that they'd make a cure with someone else. And to close out the story, Ellie tells Joel about the day she got bit and realized she was immune. She tells him that she was with her best friend Riley at the time, and that they were both bit, and she was the first to go, and Ellie, obviously, survived. And, well, I'll go ahead and let this clip play out.
Struggled for a long time with surviving. And no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
And that was it. That was the way The Last of Us ended. On a lie. And everyone was shocked. But it was a satisfying ending. It was something that we didn't really expect as players. Playing games my entire life, it was something that I never experienced. Was this beautiful story of two people that when you first meet them, you don't think anything's going to happen. You're just going to go drop Ellie off and that's that. And people would argue forever that it's a perfect game. It doesn't need a sequel. We're never going to get a sequel. What would they do as a sequel? And honestly, we thought that was the it. We thought that that was the way The Last of Us was going to end. And Naughty Dog would go on to create something different. But instead, 7 years later, we would get a sequel. And that game would turn a lot of heads. And then would be considered a masterpiece in storytelling. But that is for another time.
What are you doing, kiddo? You really gonna go through with this?
I'm gonna find. And I'm gonna kill. Every last one of them.